Hey everybody, it's Dale from Something Beautiful. Welcome to the Fretboard. In this series of videos we're going to learn all 7 of the modes of the major scale. I'm going to teach them all to you in one position so that you can hear the difference between the different modes. They all have different whole step, half step patterns. The way that we're going to learn them is in 3-note per string patterns that will span 2 octaves on each one. Today we're doing the major scale. In all of the modes of the major scale there are only 3 finger shapes that we have to know. I'll teach you the vocabulary that I'm using. I use major for a shape that looks like this. It's a whole step and a whole step. I use minor for a shape that looks like this. It's a whole step and a half step. And then I use short for a half step and a whole step. So those are the 3 things. So as we go to the next string, I'll call out major, major, minor, short, and but every time I say a new one, we'll go to the next string. So if so the major scale, for example, is major, major, short with a shift. It's a half step shift, short, and a half step shift, and minor. So we have major, major, shift, short, short, minor. Put it all together, we have this. So go write that down however you need to, if you got to use tab or if you got to use notation, or if you just want to write down the shape of it. That's the major scale, up and down 2 octaves. It starts and ends on the tonics, which are in this case G. All of them are going to be in G, I guess. So once you have that shape under your hand and it's stuck there and you understand it, we start exercising in it. So I'm going to do it up and down a couple of times. So you have that under your hand. Then we'll start skipping notes. So the first way that I exercise with a scale is to skip a note and play it in thirds. So you'll play the first note, and then the third note, and then you go back one, and then skip a note, then you go back one, and then you skip a note, then you go back one, then you skip a note, and then you keep going. A note to the top. That's the 9th degree of the scale. It's a whole step above your top note. So you can play it up here, or you can play it where your first finger wants to land if you're staying in position. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add then F sharp. The 7th degree of the major scale is a half step below the tonic. So I'm going to add the bottom note when I do the same concept backwards. To it. Another way that I use major scales for exercise is I play a 4-note sequence, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, and then we play the next group of 3 notes, and then back to the first note, and then the next, and then the next. Major tonality. It sounds like it's a major scale. You're used to it by now, probably. So we have thirds, and then we fill in the thirds and have a 4-note sequence. And then there's we can play every scale in fourths. So you play each ascending interval of a fourth. So we'll play 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll start at the next degree of the scale. Next degree. Next degree. Next degree. without messing up so you can see it right. Backwards. Alright, so there's up and down in fourths. Then I run sequences from my favorite guitar players. My favorite guitar players are Ace Frehley, John Petrucci, and Paul Gilbert. The simplest one, I guess, is the Ace Frehley pattern, which is a triplet pattern, which we're going to start on the 1st degree, and we're going to use the 7th degree because this has it has a triplet feel and it ascends up to the tonic. So it's a downward triplet. So you're playing 1, and then the 7 to 1. Makes sense? Going backwards, I typically play the first 3 notes. Alright, do that again. So you could see that you end up with these patterns that you could play very, very fast, especially if you've been practicing, like I obviously have not been. And then there's another triplet pattern that I use. It's a Paul Gilbert sequence. You're going up 4 notes, down those 4 notes, and then up 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and that's so that's how you use a group of 2 strings. Next group of strings. Next. Then backwards. Alright, so that's a great triplet pattern. You can use that to speed train. A 16th note pattern that I use is a John Petrucci pattern. That is pretty much right off of Rock Discipline. If you don't have John Petrucci's Rock Discipline or any of Paul Gilbert's Terrifying Guitar Trip videos and stuff like that, you should go get them because there's a lot of awesome information in those videos. Okay, so John Petrucci up 6 notes and then down those same 6 notes and up those 6 notes again. So we end up with 16th notes. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Alright, so you're going up and then down and then up again. Then we'll repeat it on the next string. Backwards. That's the major scale.